now. Good afternoon and welcome to Quality Matters in Course Design. This is the final part in our 4-part series where we are going to explore standards 7 and 8. My name is Rose DiNardo. I'm the Assistant Director of the e-learning division here at Camden County College. And joining me today is Ginny McGee, our instructional designer.
Hi, everyone.
I'm just going to put this up for a moment for those who may not be able to hear us so that they can know what to do in case that has occurred. For your own reference, if you're ever in a webinar and you can't hear, you want to check to see if your speakers or headphones are connected to the right interface on the computer. You want to make sure that your device is turned on if necessary. You want to check to see if the volume or mute button is on your device. We've all done that at some point or another. And you want to check if you are using the selected device. So here we are with today's agenda. We're going to look briefly at the Quality Matters rubric. We're going to talk about Standard 7, which is learner support, and Standard 8, which is accessibility and usability. Then we're going to open the floor up for questions, and then we're going to talk about support and reminders. Now, I do want to let everybody know that today when we talk about the Standard 8 accessibility and usability, we're not going to specifically tell you how to do certain things. We're going to tell you what you should be doing. If you don't know how to do something that we've discussed today, you can always email us and I'll give you that information later on in the session. And we can either have a one-on-one session to show you how to do something for accessibility, or we can send you the step-by-step instructions for that. So the Quality Matters rubric is revised every 2 to 3 years. Currently, we are using the 6th edition of the rubric. It's divided into 8 standards, which you can see on the right-hand side of your screen. And we are up to standards 7 and 8 in our series, Quality Matters in Course Design. Each standard is, each of the 8 standards is divided down further to specific review standards. So altogether, there's 42 specific review standards that we've covered throughout the series. And each of those review standards is allocated a point value. So 3 means that it's essential to the course design and you absolutely should have it in your course. 2 is very important and 1 is important. You can use some subset of these standards to get to the certain value that you want. And what value is it that you want your rubric to add up to? You want it to add, there's 100 possible points and the desired percentage is 85%. Once you include all of the 3-point standard reviews, that gives you 69 points. So to get to the other 80, to get to the 85, you could use some subset of the 2-pointers and the 1-pointers to get those 16 additional points. And of course, if you really wanted to, you could do every standard on there and get 100 and you would be set. This is my funniest slide for the presentation, the duh versus doy slide. Some of these things that I'm going to tell you, you're going to be like, well, duh, I already do that. And some of the things I'm going to tell you are you're going to be like, oh, doy, I didn't realize that I should do that in my class, that would be helpful to my students' success. So this, as I said, is the funniest slide. I do apologize. This is a bit on the dry side as webinars go, but it's very important information that we should cover. So here we go. We're going to start with Standard 7. So Standard 7 as a whole says that the course facilitates learner access to institutional support services essential to learner success. This has 4 specific review standards. There are 3 that are worth 3 points and 1 that are worth 1 point. And this standard is to ensure online learners know that they have access to and are encouraged to use services that support learners at the institution. So as we go further, we're going to talk about what kind of services we're referring to. So standard 7.1, the course instructions articulate or link to a clear description of the technical support offered and how to obtain it. This is a 3-point value. This is very important. So what you want to do is you want to provide a link or the phone number and email address to technical support. We have our OIT office that you would use that for. You could put a link in a tutorial or other resources on how to use the LMS tools. So Canvas is available, as we'll talk about later on again, 24/7. You would provide them with technical support for here at Camden County College, technical support for Canvas, and any other technical support for any third-party items that you might use. Standard 7.2, this is a 3-point value, and it says accessibility policies or accommodation statements state that services and accommodations are available for learners with disabilities and inform the learner how such services may be obtained. So what you want to do is you want to provide a link in your course to the institution's accessibility policy. And then you want to provide a statement that informs the learners of how to obtain the institution's disability support services. So this could be a link to the web page. This could be putting in the phone number or email address for our disability services, which I know a lot of people already do as a standard part of their first day handouts. Standard, excuse me, standard 7.3, course instructions articulate or link to the institution's academic support services and resources that can help learners succeed in the course. This is a 3-point value, which means that it's essential. So what you want to do for best practice is link to online orientations or demo courses, a link to the library, including information on how to gain access to library materials and databases and how to contact the librarian. What I like to do is I like to include an assignment in my orientation session about getting a library card so that the students can either pick it up, or if they're online students, they can actually have it sent to them. A link to tutorials or guides on conducting research, writing paper, and citing sources. So we have all of that information on our library page and NoodleBib page. Standard 7.4, course instructions articulate or link to the institution's student services and resources that can help learners succeed. This is a 1-point value, which means it's important, but you don't necessarily have to have it in your course. So what you could do for best practices is you could provide a description of support services and how to obtain them, guidance on when and how learners may obtain a particular support service or resource, or links to each of the institution's support services webpage. So what I like to do is I like to make one page in Canvas and I link it to all the important services, from tutoring to transfer to disability services. That way there's one page in my orientation session that has all of these support services separated so that students can read and see each one and click on the ones that they need. All right, I'm going to stop there for a moment. And Ginny, are there any questions coming in?
Yes, so there's one that says you stated in the course, so a standard can be fulfilled anywhere, for example, in the first day handout as the first file in the module, or in a spec sheet for a specific assignment, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And then the next question says, how to gain access to databases. Do we actually write out directions with screenshots to literally walk the student through on how to access the databases?
Are you referring to library databases?
I think that's what they're referring to, because the question came in.
Okay, so for the library databases, on the library site, I believe they have videos that walk students through that themselves, or they can ask a librarian. So you wouldn't necessarily have to provide step-by-step instructions unless it's a database that you want your students to use frequently. And, it's something that you want to provide the instructions yourself for. But I believe that the library has instructions for all of that.
I think that's correct too.
Okay, any other questions right now?
Those are the only two so far.
Okay. All right. So that was standard 7, pretty quick and easy. Standard, a few more standards. Standard 8 is about accessibility and usability. It's about the course design reflects a commitment to accessibility and usability for all learners. There are 3 3-point standards, 3 2-point standards, and 0 1-point standards. So the course design utilizes the principles of universal design for learning and reflects a commitment to accessibility. So let's look at the first standard of standard 8. So standard 8.1, the course navigation facilitates ease of use. So this is a 3-point value, and for best practices, you should use a consistent layout and design are employed throughout, making content, instructional materials, tools, and media easy to locate from anywhere in the course. So this is where using the modules come in play and making sure that your modules are consistent with one another. It's very difficult when you have an online class or even using it Canvas as a supplemental tool and you do not use modules. It makes it harder for the students to navigate. Course pages have links, files, and icons that are labeled with easy to understand, self-describing, and meaningful names. So when you go to enter a link or a file, you can actually put the name of, put the name of the page. Just don't put, page 1, page 2. Give it a name that stands out to the students so that they can refer it to the lesson. Standard 8.2, the course design facilitates readability. This is a 3-point value. So for best practices on this, you want format and text colors that are used purposely to communicate key points. You want similar content grouped together and headings to indicate a change of topic. Heading and body styles are consistent throughout the course. And font style and size are selected to maximize on-screen legibility. Standard 8.3, the course provides accessible text and images and files, documents, LMS pages, and web pages to meet the needs of diverse learners. So this is a 3-point value. For best practices, you want to make sure that when you use images and graphs that you describe them. In Canvas, it makes you put an alt tag. An alt tag is where you're going to describe what it is that that picture or graph is of. If it's just decorative, then you could click on that it's just decorative. But if you actually put a description in there, then if a student's using a screen reader, it's going to pick that up and it's going to tell them what that image or graph is. You want to make sure that all tables are set up as text and not as embedded images. You want PDFs that are selectable and searchable. And underlined text is avoided unless it's used for navigation. So when something's underlined in a text, it usually means that it's going to link the students out to something. So you want to avoid using underlined text. Standard 8.4, the course provides alternate means of access to multimedia content in formats that meet the needs of the diverse learners. This is a 2-point value. So for best practice, you want equivalent textual representations of multimedia content within the course. Videos and animations are captioned or text transcripts are readily available. Standard 8.5, This is a 2-point value. It says course multimedia facilitates ease of use. So what this means is that multimedia is easy to view, operate, and interpret. Images are appropriately sized and can be viewed without having to scroll on the screen. The audio quality is clear and video streams smoothly without frequent interruptions. Standard 8.6, learners have access to information on the accessibility of the learning management system and additional required technologies. This is a 2-point value, but this is actually an easy one to add to your course because you can link to the Canvas accessibility statement for the learning management system. As far as if you were using a publisher site, they should also have their accessibility information as well, and you can link to that also. Jenny, do we have any questions?
No further questions have come in yet.
Okay, so as with our other presentations, this is very brief. If you have any questions, you can add them now. While I'm waiting to see if any questions come in, I'm just going to go over some housekeeping items. So what can we do for you here in e-learning? Well, if you want to use Canvas as a supplemental tool in your face-to-face class, we can help you with that. If you're interested in creating a new online or hybrid course for a future semester, we can help you with that as well. If you have a current online class and you're looking to enhance it by learning more about Canvas, we can certainly help you with that as well. If you need support using Canvas, you can search the Canvas guides. You could call their support hotline, or you could do a live chat online. That's actually my preference. I love the live chat because they can send you links to things and you can get a copy of the chat. And it's just a nice thing to keep in your folder, in your email. And also Canvas is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every day of the year. But of course, if you want to know more about something we've discussed here today, you can contact the e-learning division at elearning@camdencc.edu. We're here Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. Of course, we do have the nasty habit of checking our emails after hours as well. So you might get lucky and hear from us after hours.
We do have a couple other questions whenever you're ready for them.
Go ahead and do them now.
Okay, so it says for regarding 8.2, the font and color options, for what and where can they be found?
If you're using Canvas?
I'm thinking that's what that means, yeah.
Okay, if you're using Canvas, the font and color options are in the rich text editor. So when you open up a box, it will give you options for font and color.
And then it says best for 8.3, best practices 0.3. Please clarify this, giving an explanation and examples, please. Thank you.
Okay, let's go back to 8.3 because there's so many that I can't remember. Okay, so for example, if you wanted to put a graph in your course, perhaps you're teaching a statistics course, when you go to put in the picture, it wants to know, it will want you to put in what it is a picture of, and it gives you a box where you can write a description. The longer the description you write, the better for a student who's using a screen reader. But if you say are teaching a course, like for example, in my course, I have some little comics or little clip art that's just there for decorative purposes. I would click on decorative image, and then it would just skip over that on the screen for a screen reader.
So for I don't know if point number 3, if she was talking about the PDFs or.
Okay, so for PDFs, depending on how you save your PDF, it can save it as an image, which means that a screen reader can't read the individual words on the image. on an image. So you want to save your PDF so that they're able to be searchable and readable on like with JAWS or Read Speaker or one of those. Do you want to add anything, Jenny?
Yeah, so I mean, basically, if you use a PDF as an image, so if you were just going to like scan something and then that converts to a PDF, that's not going to be an accessible document because the screen reader just looks at it like it's a picture and it can't read the individual words. So that's what that was referring to. And then there's one other, so about the font and color options, it says, I know that. What about for file titles?
So there should be an option there also for headings. Isn't there, Jenny?
Yeah, so I don't know, within files, like if you upload a file, you can't change the font for that, but within,
if you use a Word document, you can pick the headings.
Right, yes. Yeah, if you use a Word document and upload that as a file, you can have your fonts and your headings within that Word document. So if we weren't, okay, so it says, so if I make an eDoc and save it as a PDF so no one can make changes, does that mean it can't be read by a screen reader? No. So a good test is if you can highlight the text within the PDF, like if you can select text within the PDF, then it's readable by a screen reader. If you can't, that means that it's saved as an image and that will not be readable by a screen reader. But usually if you have, a Word document or a Google Doc and you save that as a PDF, it's saving it in a format that can still be read by the screen reader.
Any more questions?
Not so far. So
All
hopefully that answered the questions. If not,
well, then I will keep going and we'll see if more questions come in.
Okay.
So here's our e-learning division. In case you are unaware of who we are, we have our Associate Dean, Dr. Patrick Chad. Then there's myself, Rose DiNardo. Then we have Ginny McGee. And then we have our newest member, our program technician, Rich Cummings. If you also have further questions about Quality Matters, you can also contact our faculty ambassadors who've gone through the Quality Matters course. They are Peter DiLorenzo, Anthony Iannuzzi, Renee Samara, Anita Wright, and Lisa Sapetti. And there are their email addresses in case you need them. This is the last of our, usually I have a slide asking you to join me for my next professional development, but this is the last one for this semester. We will be working on new professional development for summer and for fall. And of course, as always, we will be recording them. We know summer is difficult for people to always get to professional development, but we will record anything that we do and put it in the faculty hub. Any more questions, Jenny?
Nope, no more questions, just a thank you. So I think we were able to address those questions.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the presentation. I want to thank you all for joining us this afternoon, and we hope that you enjoyed your experience during our professional development for this semester, and we hope that you join us again for future professional developments. Have a good afternoon. Thank you, Jenny.
You're welcome. Bye, everyone.